everybody, for coming to DEF CON. I usually open. I don't think I've done a closing in years. And because of that, I'm going to talk a lot about secrets. And we'll start with this one. How in the world did LifeRay start? Okay, what is this? It's a lot of text. Let me give you a background. So right around the year 2000, there was this thing called a Super Saturday from a company called Sapient. Oh, so because this is the last talk, I'm going to give more details and more secrets than I normally do. So we all interviewed for this consulting company called Sapient, thank you. And they flew a bunch of us, 30 of us college students, Thursday night, and they watched us drink wine and eat cheese, and they watched how we would interact with each other. And then they had technical interviews on Friday, and on Saturday, they had a scavenger hunt. And in that scavenger hunt, they were basically critiquing us to see who would be a good consultant and who would not be. At the end of the Saturday, I was so tired and bored. And there were about 30 of us, and we all said to each other, I don't want to work for Sapient. What do we want to do instead? Let's start our own company. Okay, it's like, yes, what do you want to do? And Palm Pilots were the rage back then. So we said, let's make medical devices. Great. And there was a guy, he said, I'll join the company with you, Brian, if my name can be named the company. His name was Ray. I was like, okay, Brian and Ray, Ray and Brian, that sounds terrible. The only word I could think of was Death Ray. I thought, no, that's not a good name for a name of a company. Let's call it LifeRay. And that's where it is. March, I bought the domain name. And the guy, Ray, he ghosted me. He never emailed me back. I have no idea where he is today, except I know that he went to work for Viant, a competitor to Sapient. Okay, anyways. And where do we get our logo from? So I used FreeBSD back then. I love that alien logo. And that's the Martian from Disney or whatever. And I said, hey guys, marry the two. I want a green alien with a gun. This one doesn't have a gun, but I promise you, Ray does have a gun. And that's where we get it. And that alloy came from Nate. Okay, more things. This is, remember, year 2000. That's where I went to school. Had a lot of fun there, Rockefeller Chapel. And this is where I went to school. And on paper, these are the degrees I got. But remember, we're talking about secrets here. Okay? So I graduated with economics and computer science in one of the, I think it's ranked 6th this year. But let me show you guys the secret. These were my grades. Okay. If you can't see very far, it's BBC, BCB, AW. Let me zoom in on some of the computer science classes. Elementals of programming, B. Economics, C+, C, yikes. Intro to programming 2, B. C+, pass, which means I would have gotten a low grade, but it was enough, so pass, fail. C+ for math. Man, I'm not very good at math. Intro to programming 3, I had to withdraw. You know why? It was data structures. And I couldn't understand a thing. I didn't understand what an array was, what a map was. And I remember sitting in class with them talking to me. And I had a fellow programmer friend explain it to me. And it just went like this. Nothing made sense. Okay, operating systems, C, we'll get to that. Okay, programming 3. Oh, we already talked about that. Programming languages, C. Whew. Artificial intelligence, B-. Formal languages, I don't even know what that is. Is that computer science or English? Whatever. World Wide Web, I got an A because I understood HTML markup. Okay, algorithms, B-. Whew. Okay, C+. Programming 3, I retook it, and I got a C+. Not because we were learning C++, okay? AI again, B. Okay, physical education got a P. Okay, passed. My GPA, guys, here's the secret. 2.7 out of a 4.0, which means when I was looking for a job, I never put it on my resume. Okay? There it is. So why am I sharing with you guys this? Hey, it's 2025, we gotta talk about AI. So what happened in that class in AI where I got a B? This is what happened. We had a weekly assignment, and in that weekly assignment, there were 4 questions. And every week for the first 3-4 weeks, I could blah, 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 AI speak, consulting speak, half of each problem, half of the first problem, half of the second problem, and I knew I did that, I'd get a C. But right around that 4th week, and if I didn't get this class, I wouldn't have graduated. I saw all 4 problems. I could not even blah, blah, blah half of any questions. Okay? I was super scared. I'm like, my mom is gonna be very, very mad if I don't graduate. I'm not gonna get married, and none of this stuff, like all this stuff, it was just like, it was terrible. So it was late at night, and I said, God, everything I have is yours anyways, and I can't make a deal with you. But if you help me pass this class so I can get my CS degree, I'll dedicate my CS degree for your glory. And I kind of just prayed it, and then I fell asleep. And after I fell asleep, 2:30 a.m., knock, 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 Brian Kim came in and said, he's a partner at LifeRay, who helped start LifeRay with me. He came in and said, Brian, I have all 4 answers from the TA. I copied just 2 of them so it would not look suspicious. And that's how I graduated my AI class. So if you ask me a question about AI today, now you know how much I know. But I give thanks, and this is for God's glory. Okay, back to the operating systems class. We have to focus on this. Operating systems, C. What happened there? I have to explain it with this picture. Okay. What happened in the operating... Hey, remember, we're talking about secrets, guys, right? So I'm sharing stuff I've never shared with anybody, okay? That's a next station. That's Mountain Dew, and that's a vegetable. So what happened? Okay, so we had to write a complete operating system, and it was called Yalnix, okay? And I was working for the biological sciences department, and I ran the computer lab, and they were getting rid of all these next stations. So I said, can I have 2? I still have 1 in Diamond Bar. It's a standing stone for me. So, a remembrance. And I had 1 extra. And the guy, and my partner, his name is Kevin, he needed a place to work. So I opened up the lab when it was closed for everybody else, and he literally smoked that stuff for 10 weeks straight while drinking Mountain Dew, and he wrote 3,000 lines of code. I wrote 50. And it's not like I didn't try. I literally sat next to him and I tried. And after we passed the class, because of course the professor looked at the CVS, is that what it was before SVN? I forgot the name of it. CVS, the source control system. And he said, hey, your partner didn't commit anything. What happened? Did he do any work? And he says, oh, he did enough. Which gives me the ability right now, whenever I'm working in a team, I know immediately who's actually working and who's not. Because I suffered through it. So because of Kevin, the next station, the extra next station, I gave it to him. That was a secret agreement. Hey, you let me pass this class, you get a next station, I get to graduate. That's what happened. Okay, so I thank him for that. Okay, but then how in the world did I learn to program, right? So then I got an internship at Bank One. Ed Hahn, thank your brother. Somehow they hired me because I could speak well, even though I didn't know how to code. And this is why I also don't like remote work, okay? Because they let me remote work for 15 hours a week for an entire year as an intern who knew nothing. So what did I do for a year? Absolutely nothing, okay? And that's how I can tell when somebody's actually working or not. But I did do one thing. At Bank One, during the time when I was supposed to be working, I really loved playing the game of Risk. Okay? And I would have friends come over, and I hated rolling the dice. It would always take so much time. So what did I do? I said, I'm gonna write a Java applet to roll the dice for me. And that's how I learned to program. When I actually started making a game, that's when everything clicked. And I started touching it. So I have a lot of empathy for people who don't know how to learn audio or visual, but can only learn in practice. That's what happened to me. Okay, this guy here. Now this guy is Ivica. He just sent me a PR about an hour and a half ago that I merged in. Love this guy. I always find this picture funny because this is the only picture I can find of him on the internet, and it looks like a picture from somebody from, during the Iron Curtain. It's like some KGB agent kind of picture, So that's Ivica. He taught me what an interface is. I'm going to show you how he taught me what an interface is, and I'll tell you exactly when he taught me what a Java interface is. Okay, so what happened? Okay, what is this? Give you some context. This is a table of contents for the JSR 168 spec. What happened during that week? We had a client from Singapore come in and say, Brian, we need LifeRay training, and we're going to pay you. I'm like, how much? We're going to pay you $5,000. Okay, so they fly into Diamond Bar. They give me $5,000 in cash. Okay, so we're at the church. I'll show you guys pictures of that. He gives it to me, and I'm training him and his guy for an entire week on LifeRay. Okay. Then I got an email that said, Brian, we have this, we want to use you guys, but unless you tick this checkbox and say that you're JSR 160 compliant, we can't use you guys. So I'm like, and we need this by Friday. I'm like, man, I have to do this training. What am I going to do? So what I did was I gave them homework assignments, and they sat there, and I immediately started working on the JSR 160 implementation. And I read this PDF. It made zero sense to me. Remember, I can't learn from words. Like, literally, it's like, even when I look at this, like, I don't understand any of this, even today, okay? So what did I do? I downloaded the TCK, and I deployed the TCK, and I ran it. But when I ran the TCK, it was a separate war file, okay, inside Tomcat. So you have your LifeRay root war, and you have like 200 additional wars. Nothing worked. I'm like, how's this supposed to work? So what I did was I deployed those additional war files inside my main root war file, okay? So I made a gigantic war file with 200 more wars, and what I did was I just ran the TCK, I let it fail, and every time it failed, then I went and said, well, what do I have to do to make this work? And within a week, that's how I got it to pass. And once I had that picture that it passed, I took a picture of it, and I said, LifeRay is now JSR 160 compliant, and I put it up on the internet. That's exactly what happened. Then, at a symposium, I think it was Germany, right around this time, do you remember this, where we suddenly had hot deploy? This is what happened. Ivica, the picture I showed you earlier, sent me not a pull request. He sent me a patch, because we weren't on GitHub back then. He said, Brian, if you have an interface, then you can use that to route all the information between the two war files or in two different class loaders. Boom! I finally understood what an interface was. And actually, prior to this, I had met the guy who wrote Struts, Craig McCallahan, Struts 1, which is still used in a bunch of banks. You'll see .do. He also didn't know what an interface was. So I'm starting to see a pattern. People who make very, very simple code, you can't over-engineer when you don't know how to engineer, okay? So him and I both wrote something that was popular because we were really dumb. We just didn't have that information. And bam, Ivica taught me how to do hot deploy. I immediately wrote it, and I demoed it in front of everybody at that symposium. Now, it's very, very ironic, and I always think about how God chooses the dumbest people to shame the wise. I was the last in my CS class. They listed all the names. I had my ID. Everyone's like, AB, AB, boom. That was me. And this is about 2 weeks ago. I had reviewed 167,000 public pull requests, and about 46,000 private pull requests since 2008. I think I may have the world record for actually not robotically reviewing, like actually looking at PRs. I really think, I looked at other people who've done PRs, but those were like fake ones. Like, I actually did these. And part of the reason I'm thankful for this is because this is how I've learned all my coding. I've learned it simply from looking at other people's code. Oh, this is one of interfaces. What's an MPC server, Alex? Alejandro? I know what an MPC server is now because he sent me code, okay? All right, some more stuff. What is this? Okay, I just looked for some code that was obfuscated, okay? This is what happened. Right around before I started LifeRay, me and Brian Chung worked for a consulting company called Groundswell. Remember, this is secrets. I'm naming names now. And they sold, as a consulting company, $300,000 for this deal. And they said, ask developers, how long is it going to take? 3 months to build. The client said, we have 1 month. We'll pay you if you promise it in 1 month. And the company Groundswell was going out of business. So what did the sales guy say? Yes, 1 month. Okay. 3 months goes by, more time goes by, they're writing this in Java, and Brian Chung and Charles May had a mission trip to go to with a hard deadline, I think to Africa or Cambodia, I don't remember which country. And so they left, and they wrote all this code. The consulting company, wanting the $300,000, threw in a new team. This new team did not even know Java. They rewrote everything in Visual Basic. Somehow pressured the client to sign and say, yes, this is good enough. The client signed, and as soon as they got the money, Groundswell went out of business. I got laid off, and then Brian's friend, who worked at Groundswell, said, dude, what is this garbage piece of code? Can you help me fix this? And they said, hey, I know a guy, his name is Brian, why don't you have him come? So I start looking at this, and for 6 months, I just looked at spaghetti code. And I'm like, that's why I review every PR. I hate spaghetti code. I couldn't even touch anything, so what I did was I wrote another interface that just interfaced with that stuff as a black box. And so now, when you guys wonder when I review PRs, it's because of this. And this is a guy I really like. His name is Eric Little. And he said, God made me fast, and when I run, I feel his pleasure. And for me, I really hate reviewing pull requests. But when I review it, I feel God's pleasure because I feel like I'm doing what I'm designed to do. Okay, sorry, I said I'd take a little more time. I'm just having fun here, guys. So this is a map of LifeRay's offices today. Okay, we have many, many offices, and they're all very nice. The one in Madrid, it's right next to those big business buildings. We look so legit because we are. But back in the day, we didn't start out that way. This is a photo of when we got a $1.5 million deal to rewrite Napster to compete with MySpace on top of LifeRay. We saved that money. That's what boot-started the company. We rented an apartment, got everybody in the room. We worked underneath while sleeping upstairs. We read together. And that's the humble beginnings of LifeRay, guys. And we needed a place for a symposium, and actually for an office space. What is this? This is actually my church youth group room. But I noticed, hey, you guys only use it. We only use it Friday night and Sundays. Can I use this during the week to meet? And I had built all these computers out of spare parts. You can tell it's a spare part because that CD drive does not even match with that. But I didn't have any money, so I just paid like $10 here. But they all had NVIDIA cards, even back then, to make sure we could play Battlefield 2, I think. Anyways, so I had 20 computers, and then we just used them. This is Jeff Young. I sat right there. He's still at LifeRay. This is actually the table where I made the JSR 168. This is the other side of that building. And inside, that's a poster to IFAD. It's from Rome. And they help feed the poor, and they use LifeRay. And just earlier this year, I met the developer, and they just upgraded to the latest quarterly release. And they're still using LifeRay after all these years from this point in time. And we had our first symposium here. It wasn't a night. The cost of this is enough to buy a house. This was free, okay? And we just, whipped it up, worked out of here. We took one of the Sunday school rooms. We put a cloth there so it would look nicer. And we ate outside where we would eat for church. And one of the things I loved about the office was after we had our marketing materials, we'd chop it up, and the kids during Vacation Bible School would take it and turn them into games. And we too would walk outside and just play and have meetings outside. Now, one of the things with the room is that we didn't have a lot of meeting space. So we met outside, or on stairs, or right outside the bathroom, or when necessary, on the roof. And then we still ran out of space. That right there is a 48-inch IKEA table. So I said, guys, we're out of space. This is what we're going to do. We're going to upgrade to 36-inch IKEA tables. That's how we're going to squeeze more people. But where are we going to put these tables? There's a sand pit outside. It's cheaper to buy one of these than to rent and move. So we spent $50,000, $60,000, bought this container, wired it with gigabit, and that's it. It's like a Ryanair for developers. And right here is our first CI servers. Because remember, I like doubling everything. We called the place Fishes and Loaves because it always multiplied. And no matter what happened, there was always enough space. But one day, we still ran out of space. So we took the main sanctuary and said, Monday through Friday, we're going to work out of there, and then we're going to change it. So what's the best kept secret? I've just been telling you guys secrets about LifeRay's origin. What's the best kept secret? It's LifeRay itself. We're the best kept secret. Let me tell you why. I believe this in my heart of hearts. LifeRay is the best digital experience platform, right? What I believe that LifeRay is the best platform for tailored solutions. Sure, WordPress kicks our butt in percentages of the internet. Like 40-some% of the internet uses WordPress. But if you need a tailored solution and you're a government agency, we're the ones for you. Let me explain why. Lots of products are out there that are a CMS, they're an LCAP, they're a DXP, or they are commerce. LifeRay is the only product through strategic, organic rebuilding and rewrites to have one platform. We are not a Franken-form. You take out your iPhone, there are better cameras out there. There are better keyboards than your iPhone. But you know what? I sure write a whole lot of emails and Slack messages on my phone. I sure take a whole lot of pictures on my camera. And that's what I think LifeRay is. When people evaluate platforms out there and you want one platform to rule them all, that's LifeRay. And we are open source. Look at the other DXP platforms out there. Of the major vendors there, we're the only open source vendor. And why does this matter? It gives you control over code and data, right? Data is obvious because you can run it anywhere you want, but the code is important too. Let me tell you why. You'll probably remember this from June last year. You wake up, use Adobe, and what does Adobe say? All of your Photoshops belong to us, right? All your images, everything belongs to us. That was June 6th. They didn't change their legal agreement until June 24th. So for those, June 18th. June 6th to June 18th. For those days, you opened Photoshop, you had no choice but to click accept. If you're a government, and think about this, as the world has gone from more, and you tell your boss this, you guys are developers, think about this. And the trend of the world is this, it's crystal clear. We're now not trending toward globalism. We are now trending toward nationalism. That means you're going to need to run your code in your country, and you to make sure that if whatever government suddenly says you can't use your platform, you still get to use your platform because you have access to the code. And we're the only platform that provides that. Another aspect of open source is that it provides security through transparency, not obscurity. It's transparency. And let me show you why this is important, okay? Now, this is not an example exactly of open source, but this gets to the gist and nature of it. This is a DDoS attack on a large energy company in South America, and we had 363 million requests in a day. Our team solved it. Here's another one. For Australia, almost 1 billion requests in 2 hours. Our team solved it. But here's the part that freaked us out afterwards. The team, or the group of people that attacked Australia, the people who claimed credit was the Russian government. It's not like I'm accusing the Russian government. They're taking credit for this. So that means whatever platform you're running on, you're going to want to have the ability to scrutinize your own code. You don't want a SolarWinds thing happening to you, okay? And finally, why I think Liferay is the best kept secret is because we're accelerating. Look at, for those of you guys who've been around the block, look at what's happened to Liferay for the last 3-5 years. We've really gotten our act together. And you can see the tipping point happening during objects, right? Refactoring that gave a boost of energy to our entire ecosystem. Now we're launching CMS. And when we launch CMS, okay, thank you. His idea, Marco's idea, not mine, okay? The team did not believe it. The team kept giving excuses why we would not be able to deliver. And with time, we said, guys, we are a low-code platform. We can rebuild Liferay using Liferay. And slowly, the team, instead of giving pre-advanced excuses for why we would fail, the team started to believe. And now, we're talking about CMP, Digital Sales Room, AI Hub. We are building the AI Hub in record time. We're reusing what we've built to the point that we're making this public. This is on liferay.com. We're telling people, guys, we're here. This is our digital platform. We have commerce. We have a DXP. We have AI. We've got it all. We're the best bang for the buck. We're the best ROI. We're open source, on-premise, any cloud that you want. That's who we are. That's a product that we provide. We are the best kept secret. And what do I want from you guys? I want you, not AI generated. You know why? It kept failing. It just kept generating a wrong thing. I slacked our design team, like, get me a picture. This is the prompt I tried giving. AI's too dumb. This is what I want. I want you guys, when you guys leave DevCon, go back to your respective places, online, offline, in person, and tell people that Liferay, hey, have you guys heard of it? It is the best kept secret. Look at what they're doing with AI Hub. Look at what they're doing now. They're splashing into the marketing space. I really think that this is going to be good for our company. And we've seen this happen. I've seen champions that say, you know what? We're paying for this CMS platform, this portal platform, this DXP. Slowly, all of those things are converting to Liferay. Help us with that. I want you to help with that. Thank you for coming to DevCon. Thank you for investing in Liferay, okay?